Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Tasmania's housing crisis is firming as a central theme in the state election, with widespread calls for more funding of homelessness services. Building homes and offering concessions have been key themes of the campaign so far, but some say a vital gap remains.
Having experienced homelessness at just 18, Kelly says young people are in more danger and need more housing supports.
We were very fortunate to find that place to let us stay for a long time, but other than that, I think we would have been pretty much stuck.
The housing and rental crisis is breaking people.
Flanked by their federal leader, the Greens unveiled a $64 million plan to tackle youth housing and homelessness, more supported accommodation and help transitioning from out-of-home care.
Children and young people make up a quarter of all people who are homeless in Tasmania, and they live in vulnerable conditions.
Independent David O'Byrne is calling for money from the Liberals' proposed visitor levy to be redirected.
It needs to go into crisis accommodation. We have women's shelters who are refusing and pushing away, sadly, hundreds of Tasmanians.
Saying veterans are being left out in the cold too, Labor wants to build 21 units catering to them on land owned by the RSL.
The beauty of this program is that RSL Tasmania will also provide wraparound services for Tasmanian veterans.
People tend to, when they come out of the service, feel disconnected from everything, and the last thing they want to be worried about is where they're going to live.
What we have ensured is that we are working with and supporting the organisations that support vulnerable Tasmanians.
At home in the northwest, Jeremy Rockcliffe's focus was on education.
We need a tree, then we will not feel hot.
Announcing a $130 million upgrade blitz across 16 schools, while supporting leadership programs and extending the phonics rollout to Year 6.
That way we can be sure that those students are getting the very best start. We are carrying that through our primary school years so that they can get the most out of their learning from day one.
Meanwhile, both parties have committed funds to Bernie's urban plan. Labor to put $30 million towards revitalisation and the Liberals $17. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Launceston General Hospital nurses have walked off the job today and threatened further strike action over the Liberals' claim to ban ramping. From Monday, there's a 60-minute deadline for the transfer of care of patients from paramedics to the emergency department.
The problem with this is that the risk is not being addressed. The risk is being diverted elsewhere into a part of the health system that is already overburdened, understaffed and under-resourced.
You can't fix ambulance ramping by coming up with a slogan in a political campaign. It has to be a holistic approach.
Jeremy Rockcliffe says he is committed to the policy to ban ramping. Fire permits will be lifted on the West Coast from 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. The Fire Service says favourable conditions, including reduced soil dryness, will lead to a moderate risk of localised fire incidents. Permits will still be required in all other parts of the state until significant rainfall arrives. Many Tasmanians have spent today celebrating after the Jack Jumpers secured a second NBL Grand Final Series appearance in 3 years. Thousands watched on into the late hours of last night as the Jackies overcame the Perth Wildcats. Even political opponents united to get behind the team.
A moment to savour for Jack Jumpers fans.
But for the second time in their 3 seasons, the Jack Jumpers are headed to the Championship Series.
The result set to be one of the team's most famous, hustling their way to a big win on the other side of the country. Emotions flowed post-game.
Island defended. Love builds people back in Tasmania. This team loves you. We're coming back home.
Excited. That's all I can say. Couple more games to get it done.
Supporters gathered across Tasmania to cheer them on. Watch parties alive with the sound and the colour green. Those who stayed up until nearly midnight rewarded. While in the Wildcats' den, a handful of fans had a night to remember.
Hey, Jackies! You
Even as far away as Vietnam, supporters put their holidays aside. Come morning, it was a hot topic on the streets.
I think the whole team really came together and it was a brilliant result.
I just can't see many people beating them, and they've come right at the right time.
Even state MPs currently contesting their own grand final were on the same page.
I have reached out to the coach just this morning to congratulate the Jackies.
Everyone's got our fingers crossed for them. We hope that they keep going and we can watch them play right through.
But don't expect a public holiday if they win the championship.
Would you declare a public holiday in their honour?
No.
Melbourne United stands in the way of a maiden title. The Ant Army, though, hold no fears.
I think we've got what it takes to go all the way.
They'll definitely win. We got good blokes.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
A series of traffic crashes has caused peak hour mayhem on Hobart's southern outlet. A smash involving a bus closed one of the southbound lanes, with an incident between a car and motorbike and another involving 4 cars, adding to the growing congestion. Both lanes near the Alinda Grove turnoff were blocked, causing traffic to back up almost 5 kilometres into the CBD. There are no reports of serious injury. An inaugural event celebrating the change of season is right around the corner. Tasmania's Autumn Festival sparing no expense, providing tours, treats and entertainment for an entire month.
Sharing a glimpse of what's to come, excitement is building for Tasmania's first autumn festival.
We've got blacksmithing, we've got fly fishing, we've got high teas, we've got cooking schools, we've got garden tours.
Based in the Derwent Valley and Central Highlands, this iteration will run for a month alongside the pre-existing one-day event. More than 60 businesses featured in its program, including Emily Bradbury Art hosting painting workshops.
I've recently left my day job, so I've been doing my art full time for 4 or 5 months now, and it's just going to be fantastic exposure.
Pie and Tipple trails also planned. A welcome economic boost for the south, with thousands of people predicted to attend.
They also potentially stay overnight, they spend in the local cafes, they buy their petrol here.
The State Liberal Party contributing nearly $10,000 to market the event to other states, while Canberra is also chipping in.
The federal government's put in $10,000 towards this event through the Strengthening Rural Regions grant process.
The festivities begin April 1.
To know that maybe people would be making plans to come here every April as they do in June for other events would be quite wonderful, and I can see scope for that.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
A world-leading health literacy program has been trialled in Tasmania, designed to encourage future generations to take control of their well-being. The Health Lit for Kids initiative has successfully run in 5 local schools. St Luke's now seeking around $2 million from the incoming government to roll out the program to all primary students.
It's important that the teachers who know the children intimately choose what health topic they focus on in order to develop those health literacy assets. So some schools will say, well, we're really challenged here with vaping.
These are the things that we need to do in Tasmania to make a real difference and take the pressure off the health system, but more importantly have Tasmanians leading healthier lives.
A health literacy program for Tasmanian businesses is also on the cards. Walking every single street around your hometown is a mammoth task not many people can say they've conquered. But for 2 fitness friends, it's a unique achievement which is about to become their proud reality.
It's a challenge 4 years in the making. Their mission, walk every public street and track in and around Launceston.
I didn't think it was going to take this long, but part of it is because we've added a lot of other elements.
John, a fitness coach, and his client Henry took on the daunting task after growing tired of the same daily route.
We'd go walking somewhere and say, been here, John, been here, John. So I thought, well, the only way we can go somewhere new is walk everywhere, which is what we did.
Rain, hail or shine, the pair has tied on the walking shoes, discovering all the hidden haunts around town.
Obviously seeing parts I haven't seen before, including all the nitty-gritty.
Certainly it's a logistical challenge, being able to make sure you can maximise the amount of streets and roads you can cover in one session.
Tracking the mighty goal, no easy task, but with the help of technology, it's one they're just streets away from achieving.
We can expand and shrink the map to know exactly where we've been and where we need to go. I'd probably say there's maybe 10 to 15 sessions tops.
The pair is hoping to cross the finishing line here in the heart of Launceston in June, a target in mind just in time for Henry's birthday.
I feel like when I'm happy that I almost own Launceston, I feel like a bit of a boss.
Soon to be crowned the true king of the streets. Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, federal independent member for Clark, Andrew Wilkie, is calling on the next state government to implement a taxi licence plate scheme. He says plates which were purchased for up to $160,000 are now worthless, thanks to rideshare apps like Uber taking off.
When a government oversees the implementation of such a industry-changing reform like allowing ride-sharing in Tasmania, then that government has a responsibility to ensure that existing vehicles are looked after.
Similar schemes have been implemented in other states. Labor will consider it. The Liberals were contacted for comment.
Scott Roth is praising the Jackies' ferocious attitude after a 100-84 win over Perth in last night's deciding semi-final. As you saw earlier, the team will battle Melbourne United for the NBL Championship. Accolades flowing for Milton Doyle's 24-point performance. Tasmania's tight defensive effort keeping Bryce Cotton under wraps.
They're the newest club, but Tasmania are old hands at rising to the occasion deep in the season.
We've been in this fight before. I think the experience of having the group together for multiple years now and being in these games.
An offensive and defensive masterclass, putting the 10-time NBL champions to the sword.
Our guys were ferocious, I really believe, in wanting to get this game across the line.
The performance is slick as the coach's hair, but Perth were dangerous early on as Wagstaff and Bryce Cotton looked ominous.
Outside to Cotton, tries his luck, finds the bottom of the net.
The Jackies though began taking control in the second term, Doyle stinging the Perth defence multiple times.
Doyle forcing his way inside again, Milton Doyle cannot be stopped.
A late second quarter surge had them 9 up at the main break.
If you can win those moments, especially on the road, you're going to give yourself a good chance.
The Wildcats tried to up the ante. Doyle, though, rose to the challenge on his way to 24 points.
Good move, couldn't connect. Doyle's outside, connects on another 3.
Racing to a 13-point lead at three-quarter time, the Jackies never looked back. After a fast start, Bryce Cotton was left frustrated by a stingy defence. The club's major owner could only watch on as the Jackies ran away with a big win.
Doyle from the corner. Another brushstroke in a masterpiece from Milton Doyle.
The team holding no fears about playing Melbourne in the decider. The Jack Jumpers have beaten them home and away this year.
We'll be in good form and it should be an exciting series and we're looking forward to getting there and competing.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, the Tasmanian NBL 1 derby is already heating up. The Hobart Chargers confirming the signings of former Northwest Thunder players Viontae Daniels and Joe Chilcott. Daniels averaged more than 14 points last season, including a haul of 25 against the Chargers. The coach hoping their best will help them reach the playoffs.
What we've done well down here is bring the best out of players, so I'm expecting a massive year out of him, and I think Viontae has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Women's side, meanwhile, adding American Jada Jensen to its list. Currently playing in Finland, she'll join the team at a later date. After falling painfully short of last year's TSL decider, Clarence is coming back with a bang with the aim of clinching the silverware in the comp's final year.
Yeah, we've fallen short for the last 2 years, sort of heartbreaking circumstances. We had a pretty big pre-season. All our injuries are just about sorted, so yeah, looking forward to 2024.
Glenorchy finished bottom of the ladder in 2023, also anticipating a huge turnaround with their second-year coach who's attracted an influx of talent.
to turn up to training and have, 40 guys on the track and obviously some fresh faces. We've been able to bring in, 10 plus players into our group as well, and some of those guys, some senior guys that have played across different leagues across Australia. So it's been fantastic for our young group to be able to bring those guys in.
Glenorchy will sit out round 1, which begins on Good Friday. The road to Paris comes via Devonport this weekend for Aussie triathletes. One of the country's oldest triathlons, it's also a calendar highlight for many of the competitors. Testing the waters off Mersey Bluff today, some of the world's best triathletes take the chance to familiarise themselves with the Devonport course.
It's just an honest race. It's tough, that's for sure, but that's what keeps us coming back.
Although not everyone needs a practice run, Ulverston's Jack Latham has been competing in this event since he was 12.
It's like a backyard race for me, so I'm always able to come here really easily and it's always convenient for me. The course is really great. You've got the crazy hill up that way on the bike course.
He'll be racing alongside fellow Tasmanian Jack Woodbury, who both recently tasted success at the Oceania Sprint Championships in New Zealand.
I've got a lot of good momentum and confidence moving into this race as my elite debut, and I'm very excited and stoked to be here.
Devonport's an important stop in the World Para Series, particularly in a Paralympic year. Only the 9 best athletes earn their country a quota spot at the Games, and points are on the table tomorrow.
Devonport's always like a really good test for the season ahead. So it's just a really good vibe to be a part of because everyone's here with a dream.
Two-time winner Emma Jeffcoat makes her 9th appearance in the elite race, hungrier than ever after a year off with a fractured femur.
I got to actually switch off from triathlon and give time to other things that I enjoy, and I feel like that kind of filled up the tank for me to then come back stronger and more motivated. And
while everyone are friends today, all bets are off Friday and Saturday.
There's a deep level of respect there, but no one fears anyone, so it's going to be quite fierce.
Good evening. Hobart 17 today, Launceston and Sheffield our high with 24 degrees, Devonport 22 and Burnie 21. A little bit cloudy over the west and southwest, a little rain and drizzle patch over Strawn, 17 there today, 23 in Smithton, Lowhead 22 degrees along with Flinders Island, 22 also at Friendly Beaches and Grove 19. We did have some low cloud today over the southwest and far south, some also developed over the northeast and the Furneaux Island group. Mid to high cloud with a weakening trough extending from WA through South Australia to southern New South Wales, the active monsoon area over the far north. Tomorrow the high continues its slow approach to Tasmania, the trough lingers into South Australia and inland New South Wales, while lows are forming on the monsoon trough over the far north. Lighter winds tomorrow from the southeast to southwest direction, swells to 3 metres in southern waters. Forecast, Hobart a top of 20 and partly cloudy, Huonville 21, same for Campania, a sunny day there. Launceston shooting for 24, mostly sunny day, Devonport 21, a high for Georgetown of 22 degrees. Burnie tomorrow, 19 and partly cloudy, Strawn reaching 20 and 20 also for Wynyard. St Helens tomorrow a top of 19 degrees, a sunny day, Swansea partly cloudy and 19, Port Arthur a high of 20 degrees. On Saturday, fine and partly cloudy. Overnight temperatures cool over the east and south. Fine again on Sunday as temperatures warm up again. Just a shower expected over the northeast. And on Monday, a shower over the northeast again and possibly Launceston and Burnie. Further north and 32 in Perth tomorrow, a possible shower for Adelaide. Early cloud over Melbourne, 27 there. A shower or two forecast for Sydney. A fine 31 in Brisbane. Fine here still too, sunny and 15 in Hobart, 22 in Launceston, 21 right now in Devonport. Still recovering from the Jack Jumpers win last night, Kim. Actually, while I was watching, I had an interesting thought. What's the difference between a basketballer and a soccer player? Well, obviously the basketballers have actual injuries.
Oh, you cannot say that, Murph. You are cancelled. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Murph won't be. Thanks for joining us. Good night.